Hi, I'm Kat and I play Red. This year's Essen, or no, last year's Essen even, was a bit of a strange one. The year before we'd gone and it was quite quiet. This year was chaos. Last year, 2022 Essen was chaos. I don't think this was our 11th Essen, and I don't think I've seen queues like I did. It was chaos. There was one morning, 3 of us were in different queues for stuff. One of the things that I wanted, but I wasn't queuing for, was this. It is Lacrimosa from De Vere Games. This was one of the queues that went right the way around the hall. And really you have to pick your battles. You go in first thing and you join a queue. I know the Saturday morning we were queuing for Great Western Trail Argentina, Atiwa, Splendid Jewel. There's only so much. So I didn't pick this up until later in the year. So we're going to have a look at it now. Lacrimosa from De Vere. Let's see how it plays. In 1791, Wolfgang Amadeus was on his deathbed and wrote the last 8 bars of his life, the Lacrimosa of the Requiem in D minor. His widow Constance has decided to contact some of the late composer's most generous patrons to help employ the right composers to complete the piece. Players in Lacrimosa take on the role of these patrons who will financially support the musicians who will collaborate to complete the Requiem. The patrons will sponsor the work so it may be completed, but each one seeks to make their own part as impressive as possible. Lacrimosa is played over 5 rounds, each corresponding to a period set in a different stage of the composer's life. You will accumulate VPs in several different ways. Commissioning works that you can have performed or you can sell. Remembering the memories you shared and adding them to your deck of cards. Remembering the trips you took with Mozart around the cities and courts of Europe. Or helping Constance complete the unfinished Requiem. At the end of round 5, the patron with the most VPs is the winner. Lacrimosa is played over 5 rounds, and each round you'll have 4 turns. So a total of 20 turns over the entire game. Each turn you will play 2 cards into your player board, and yes, I mean into your player board, like so. The card you place at the top will be your action for the turn, and the card you play at the bottom will give you income at the end of this round, ready to be used next round. On the left of your player board is your purse. This represents your income, which again you'll gain at the end of the round. This can go up and down over the course of the game. These spaces are your storyboard tracks, representing Mozart's talent, journey and composition. These will all reset to 0 before you get income at the end of the round. On this side here, we have our instrument spaces. You'll move Requiem tokens from here onto the Requiem on the main board here. So, how do you do any of this? Let's look at the main actions. So, take those out and shuffle my hand and draw my 4 cards that I'm going to start with. In your turn, you must play 2 cards from your hand and slide them into your personal board. 1 card is placed in the experiences section at the top of the board. This card determines what actions you may take this turn. Later in the game, you may have cards that show multiple actions on the top, and in that case, you can choose which order you want to take them in. The other card is placed in the story section at the bottom of your player board. This will give you story points for the next round. There are 5 actions available to you on the memory cards, so let's have a look at them. The first one we can look at is the Document Memories card. Now, in the game, there are 2 different types of card available to you. We have the memory cards, which are here, which have your action and your story bonus at the bottom, and we have your musical pieces, which we'll come on to look at in a bit. So, first action, Document Memories. You're going to choose a memory card from the main board, pay any costs shown at the bottom here, and then let's say we've got, that up there, and we have this on in our story space. So if I choose to buy one of these memory cards, let's say I buy this one, I'm going to actually replace my story card with the new card that I've just bought, and this card is removed from the game. Anytime you take cards from this central row here, you're going to move down and immediately restock them. The other important thing to note with this row is, dependent on the type of card, will depend if it's pushed up to the top or down to the bottom. And you can actually see the symbols here showing you. So the opuses get pushed down and the memories are pushed up. So in this spot, a memory card will cost me 2 coins and 1 token, and then if it was an opus, it would cost me one of those tokens. So bear that in mind. Your second action you can do is to commission an opus. So again, you're going to pay any costs shown on the top here with the opuses, and let's take this one because it's free. We're going to take that card and place it into our area, and of course again we're going to move all the cards up on the row, making sure we've got them the right way. So now this is in my tableau, which moves us nicely onto Perform or Sell Music. So this card gives you 2 choices essentially, and is related to our opus card here. We can either perform this piece of music, which would cost us 0 tokens, but gain us free money. In this case, we just tap it, show it's been used for the round, and gain 3 coins. Alternatively, you can sell a piece, but only if it hasn't been performed this round. So you're going to pay the cost shown here and take the bonus and discard the card completely out of the game. So that is performing or selling music. Then we're going to have a look at the travel action. Okay, this one's pretty obvious because it's got the car. You're going to decide where on the main board you want Mozart to go. Each road has a cost in ducats. You can also choose for him just to stay where he is, which is quite nice. So you can go as far as you want, as long as you can pay the cost, or keep him where he is. And there's 2 different types of tiles here. We have the Royal Court tiles, which are these big ones here, which will give you endgame points. We've then got the cities tiles here, So in Salzburg, where he starts, I'd have to pay 1 red and I'd gain 3 black discs. Now, the discs work in a slightly different way to the cube. So let's actually pay this cost and see how it works. So I'm going to pay 1 red on my storyboard and I'm going to gain 3 black discs. Now, your story cubes here will always reset to 0 at the end of the round. However, the discs here you can actually keep from round to round. So these are particularly handy if you have things that need bigger costs. So they're just going to sit there on the board for now. You can, at any point in the game, pay 3 coins for a disc or swap 1 disc for a coin. So they've always got a use of some sort or another. Then the last action is the Requiem, and this one is probably the most complex. Now if you look, we've got this big gold cross here, which we've also then got on the board here to remind you. You're going to choose one of your Requiem pieces from your board here. So let's go with trumpets. We're going to take this. You're then going to choose which side up you want to place it. Now, the different notes on the piece refer to the different composers at the bottom of the board here. And this has an endgame bonus that we'll come on to. It's essentially area majority for each part of the Requiem. So let's just say we put it that way up, and we're going to take the top tile that relates to this composer. So that will cost me 1 black. So I'd pay the 1 black, I'd gain, oops, I'm saying black, it's not black, it's white, I couldn't see from here. We're going to pay 1 white and gain 2 white discs. So they go there. And we're then going to pop that tile on my board there. Now, the bonuses from these composers, some of them are instant, one-off, but some of them have permanent in-game bonuses. So keep an eye on what you're placing in the region there. Your decision on placing these is very much going to depend on what is already on the board. So if we already had that one down there, it's possibly not worth doing that. You're going to stick with the majority. So initially, you're going to go with the tokens you want and the tokens you can afford, but you need to keep an eye on what other people are doing on this part of the board, because it will be impactful at the end of the game. After all players have completed 4 turns, and you'll know this because their board will be full, that is the end of the round. And you're going to move on to the maintenance phase. And there's these very handy little guides here. So the first thing you're going to do is all your story tracks are going to go back to 0. Let's just pop some cards here, and let's just say we've played all 4 cards. The ones at the top, oh, maybe don't matter so much. Let's just fill my board here. So your tracks go to 0. Then you're going to update them according to the story cards that you've played during the round. So here I'd get 1 red and 1 white. I get another white there, and then I get 2 blacks. So that is going to be what I have to play with for the next round. Make sure to check any composer tiles you have on this side of the board, because you might get bonuses for them. You're then going to gain the bonus from your purse track here. So currently I just get 2 coins, and that's that. Each round there is a bonus. So there's a few for each round and you're going to pick one at random. So this round we're going to get points for travelling. So I played one travel card this round, so I'd get 1 point. You'll see each round is kind of separated, by these tile cards, so you know where the breaks are. Next round you're going to get 2 coins for each opus you've sold or performed. So that's that. Then if you've performed any of your opuses, you're going to untap them, ready for the next round. So that's all the stuff on your player board. We're then going to move to the main board here. Now, if I'd taken that action this turn, that tile would have gone. We're going to flip over any tiles that weren't taken this round. So basically they become a little bit more desirable. So these tiles here have actually got an immediate benefit as well as the end game bonus, so don't forget to take those. Turn those over and restock any empty spaces. You're going to remove all the cards that are marked with a 1. So let's say this is where these big old chunky tiles come in handy. We remove that. We take away the round 1 bonus. We put our round 2 bonus out and restock. So here now we've got these cards with the double actions coming out. Oh my goodness, they're all action cards rather than any music. Gosh, 1. Okay, so we're going to refill that. You're going to pass the first player marker to the left. Shuffle up your cards. So you're going to take out all the cards you used, shuffle them up, and draw 4 cards to start the new round. Now, the way you take cards is a bit odd, but it's actually explained quite nicely on the player board here. So you start with 4 cards. You're going to play 2, you're going to draw 2, play 2, draw 2, play 2, draw 1. So at the end of each round, you're going to have 1 card left in hand. So when you do shuffle up, keep the 1 card in your hand just to the side, shuffle up, and actually you'll draw 3 cards so that you draw up to 4. So we've reset everything now, and we're just going to do a couple of rounds and see how it plays. So each player has a starting opus, so that starts out there. I'm going to shuffle my deck and, like it says on the board here, draw 4 cards. So there is a lot going on in this game, but if you look and if you know what you're doing, you can pick up on a lot of this. So, oops, I've cheated and I have a number 1 card in my deck. Right, so let's have a look. Now, I'm going to get extra points for travelling this round, so I obviously want to do some travelling. So, first thing I'm going to do is pop a travel card in there. I don't think I want to write any pieces just yet, so I'm going to pop that down there. So that's my first turn. So I get to move, and honestly I think I'm quite happy with that little spot in Salzburg. So I'm going to pay a red here, and I'm going to gain 2 discs of my choice. This gets removed. What would I like? Now I've used a red, so I'm going to take a red and a black. Now you will gain these resources in a couple of ways. You'll gain the cubes and the discs, but if you notice here, it's quite small. There's actually a picture of a cube, so you know at that point you're getting a cube. Whereas on this tile here, it's actually got the discs, so you're going to take discs. So take note of what type of resource you're going to get. When you're paying, you can pay either, that's not a problem, but when you pick up, you need to pick up the right sort. So that is it, that's my first turn done, because this bottom card doesn't take effect until the end of the round. So now I need to draw 2 cards, so let's draw these 2. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy or sell a piece, and again I think it's a bit early to be fiddling with the Requiem. That does depend how many players you've got and if people are being frantic. But for now, let's sell this starting opus I got. So this is going to cost me 1 black. Always spend your cubes first because they go down to 0. And I'm going to get 1 up on my purse, which is quite nice because I get a much better income. And now I've sold this, it's gone, it's out of the game. Just pop it to the side there. That's my second turn. So now I need to draw 2 cards. So let's draw 2. Now I need some more cards because the cards coming up are better than the cards that are in my hand. So I think we're going to take a card. I don't have any pieces to sell or perform, so I'm going to stick that in the bottom for now. And let's have a look at what card I might want. So these ones here, you can see, are going to give you a bonus when you play them, which is quite nice. This travel here is super expensive, so I'm going to take this one, which will cost me 2 coins and a resource of my choice. And so I'm going to take that card, and this card will come out the bottom, remove from the game, and go into the story section there. And you can already see how much better these cards are compared to our starting cards. So, last round, draw a card. And because I get the bonus for travelling, I'm going to travel. Oops, I didn't restock the board. Bad me. Let's do that. Restock. So I'm going to put a travel there. Now I've got quite a lot of black there, so I'm going to put that one in. So we're going to travel. And what would we like? I think I might just travel here. So it's going to cost me 1 ducat. I pay 1 red. And I can buy a memory card. So this is removed from the board. What memory card would I like? There's only a choice of 2 and they're both quite expensive. I'm going to go with this one, which is going to cost me 4 coins. Wow. And 2, I don't know if you can see that, and 2 resources of my choice. So we're at the end of the round, so it doesn't matter. So I'm going to spend 1 of them and 1 of them, spend all of my resources. Take that card, remove that one, and pop that one in its place. So that is my first 4 turns. I have 1 card left in my hand. It goes there, so I don't get it mixed up. And we're going to go into the maintenance phase. So first thing we do is move all of these down to 0, which, ta-da, I've done. Then we're going to gain 1 black, 1 white, 3 black, 1 red and 1 white, 1 red and 1 white. So that is my story bonuses done. We have no composer bonuses because we haven't got any composers on site yet. We're then going to get the purse bonus, which is for me 3 coins and a resource of my choice. I'm looking quite low on the red, so I'll take that. Then we're going to have a look at the bonus for the round, which is travelling. So I should be on 0 points. Each travel card I played is going to give me a point, and I played 2. So, ta-da, 2 points, which is rather nice. Now we're going to take all these cards out. All right, and don't forget we've got our nice new cards coming into play now. So take all of those out, shuffle that up, and draw up to 4 cards. So we've got 1, 3, so that's my starting hand for the next round. Then we're going to come over to the main board, flip these to the gilded frame and refill the blank spots. So you do this. Oops, upside down. No, it's not upside down. It's only upside down for me. That's fine. Refill those. Get rid of all the level 1 stuff. Level 1 bonus goes. Round 2 bonus comes in. And the round 2 cards will come up. So that's 1 round already. So you can see how initially it's going to be quite quick. When you start getting some of these later cards with multiple actions that can then trigger other actions, gosh, on the board, your turns are going to be longer. So that's my starting hand. And we'd continue into round 2. At the end of the 5th round, you're going to carry out player maintenance like that, and then move on to final scoring. At the end of round 5, after you've done your player board maintenance, you're going to move on to endgame scoring. First thing you're going to score is the royal court tiles. Now, there's several different varieties of them. The first one here is going to score you points if you have cards from number 1 and number 2 in your deck. So let's have a look. There's a number 1 and there's a number 2. So I would score 4 points for that tile. Now you can only score these once, so even if I had 3 of each, I'd still only get 4 points. So that's those tiles. The next type of tile will score you points for having pieces in the specific parts of the Requiem. So if I have a piece in part 2, 3 and 5, I would score 6 points. So I've got 1 in 2, I don't have 1 in 3 or 5, so I wouldn't score that. The next type of tile will reward you for having placed specific instrument types. So let's have a look. I have a token on the strings there and the choir there. So I'd score 5 points. Now, you can only use each piece to score once. So going back to this tile, I couldn't use my strings in section 2 to score here and here. I can only use each thing for 1 scoring. So bear that in mind when you're taking these royal court tiles. The last and final type of scoring tile is the specific types of opus. Now there's multiple types. I think there's 4 or 5 and they're shown by the pictures here. So in this case, this tile requires me to have a religious piece and a chamber piece, but I don't. I only have the chamber piece, so I wouldn't score that. So that sucks. So those are your royal court tiles. You're going to score those first. We're then going to move on down and score the Requiem, and this is a little bit complex. Each part of the Requiem has 2 VP values. The first thing you're going to do is determine which composer has the majority in each area. Let's just quickly flip that. You didn't see that, right? So here, they're both the same. So this is our majority. Each one of those pieces would score 3 VPs. Now, if for example, we had that there, I'd get 3 for this and 1 for that, and the blue player would just get 3. But that never happened. Moving on to our part 2, these neutral pieces won't score you points. You get 1 per player. They're on the brass instrument section. You're going to place it when you place your coloured piece. So here we have 2 and I have 1. So blue will score 4. While this counts for the majority, it doesn't count for scoring. So they get 4 points and I'd get 2. Nothing in here. Moving on to here, we would get 6 points for each of these pieces. So I'd get 12 and blue would get 6. So you're going to go through each part of the Requiem and score that. Then you're going to score 1 VP for every 2 story points, be that cubes or discs. So we got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that would give me 5 points. And lastly, but not least, you're going to get 1 point for every 3 coins you have left over. So I'd get 2 points there. Once you've added everything up, the player with the most points is the winner. If you made it this far, well done. Go you. It's a bit of a beast. Lacrimosa from De Vere. I really like this game. It's a limited turn game, which we've been talking about quite a bit recently. I do like that because you know exactly when the game's going to end. You can plan accordingly. You know exactly how many turns you get. You control your deck because you play all but 1 card. So you've got most of the control in this. People can mess you up by going and taking tiles that you want. There's a lot of symbology, but once you've played it a couple of times, you know what you're doing. These tiles here have a bonus up the top. Your opus cards have a bonus at the top. So this is pretty obvious. You pay 1 black and 3 coins and you gain 3 points. So whenever you take an opus card, you're going to get this bonus, for example. Bonuses on these are pretty obvious once you've played it a couple of times. And there is also this kind of helpful reminder. You see, we've got the cross here to remind you that this is the cross action. Your carriage here, and then up the top, you've got the 2 symbols quite faintly for the 2 different types of cards. So most of it makes sense once you're a game or 2 in. Realistically, the theme could have been anything, but it does work really nicely. There's a fair bit of variation within the game because you've got these bonus tiles I mentioned. I think there's 3 or 4 for each round, so you're going to pick 1 at random each time you play. And obviously these come up randomly. But it doesn't feel too random. It still feels like a really solid strategy game. The presentation of it is just gorgeous. I'm going to mess everything up and show you the player board. These player boards are so nice. Inset, you put your cards in them, but this is what they look like when they're folded up. How nice is that? This little piece here with the turn order comes in a few different languages, so obviously we have the English one in there. It's really nice. It's beautiful. It's nice to see De Vere starting to get some love. Obviously they bought us Bitoku recently, which is lovely, and again there's a lot going on in that. There's a lot going on here. Plus, look, it has shiny red. It's got shiny red stuff. That's all I need. It's available now. Check it out. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, even though it was a bit of a beast. If you did, click like and subscribe and all that stuff. Come and say hello on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I Play Red. See you next time. Bye.